This is such an incredible time for spiritual opportunities. I mean that it's a time for us to expand and up-level at a literal soul level within the body, where we have this felt give and take between us and our own soul, where we can invite the soul to step forward into our living human experience. And these challenges that are coming up for every individual right now, what is happening in terms of opportunities being offered is essentially global. I'm focused on the Western world because that is where I live and where I know the most about what is going on. But it's global. And these global rules and regulations that are being offered for our consideration ask us to meet them, and that's where each challenge point comes, whether we meet this energy or not, and how we engage or don't engage. And we cannot meet the energy and not engage and up-level spiritually. We can meet the energy and engage and up-level spiritually. Every person's choice and soul path is going to be different because that's what makes the whole experience. It's interesting because when I was in corporate, there was a time approaching where I knew there was going to be great change for me and my team. And at one point, I subtly let them know, in the ways that I could. I bought each one of them actually a book about change for them to read. I guess I was still doing this kind of thing back then. Well, I ended up having a conversation with one of the people who was younger than I was at the time, a little less experienced in the field I was in. There was a lot of ego in the field that I was in. A lot of great things as well, but I just want to say it that way because there was a lot of competition and being number one and all that kind of energy. The reason I want to give that context is because it will give a contrast to this conversation that I had with someone on my team. And they were talking to me about something, and I said, look, this is how I see things. How I see things is that you, me, the people around us, we are all like gears in a giant machine that's turning. And every gear is important. No one gear is more important than the other because the machine, if even the tiniest gear doesn't turn, or one of the little notches is somehow damaged, it will affect the entire machine. And I'm almost certain that his response was, well, I don't see it that way. Because like I said, this was a very hierarchical industry and field. And that's okay. That's okay. I had seen it that way when I had started out as well in that industry, okay? But then I came to see, operating a team and stuff like that. I came to see the importance of every single individual and their contribution and how we all work together. Even though I was the face of that team, my performance and how well I performed was the member who seemed to be, if someone was judging it from a hierarchical perspective, who was the least important on that team was actually the most important person. Okay, the person who got me my phone messages was the most important person because she controlled whether I talked to the head of the company or not. She controlled whether I talked to the head of the department or not. She controlled whether I got the message that the person called when I was in a meeting or when I was out doing whatever. Okay? And so over time, I came to see and value every single one. And so that's why when I'm saying when you're at a challenge point, your reaction and how you are going to handle it is unique to you. Only you know what is right for you, because I don't know what gear you are in the machine that is humanity living through this experience. And it could be your meeting that means complying with something, with a rule, complying with a decree. And then you work through that and you deal with it how you do, and you contribute in that way. It could be that your contribution is not complying, and you work through that and you deal with it in your way. It could be that your contribution is being an authoritarian who beats down people, and you contribute in that way. It could be that your contribution is to be the person that rises up and meets that in the way that you do, and you contribute in that way. And as all of us work, as each one of us does the thing that we are called to do, we proceed through this experience together. And I love that phrase, that Latin phrase on each one of our coins in the United States of America. E pluribus unum, one among many. I am individuated, but there's a ton of people around me doing stuff, living their lives. So I love those stories. I've always loved science fiction. This is also a theme in adventure movies as well, but I love those stories where people are operating in different parts of a story. In the science fiction shows, okay, it could be that someone's on a ship, someone's on a planet, someone's on Earth, someone's here, someone's there, and each person does the right thing that they feel they are called to do. And then the whole story comes together at the end. And it's amazing because that person did their thing, and a person halfway across, the galaxy can do their thing because of that. And a person, on a ship can do their thing because of that. I love these. I love these big science fiction stories. And I love the moral of that. And I love it because I believe it's true. And I believe that in these times that this is so important for us. And why do I believe that? I believe that because I remember, as I've talked about many of my past lifetimes, and in particular, I remember my most recent lifetime of huge disaster, which was my last lifetime in Atlantis. And what I remember and what I remember in this lifetime, okay, having gone through the terrible experience of remembering all of that occurred and emotionally living through processing it because it was heavy. What I realized from that lifetime is no one person can save the world. No one person can save the world from the effects of what they did or didn't do. This time around, it takes all of us working together to achieve the highest outcome. It takes all of us at the soul level doing what we're called to do, and this is the incredible spiritual opportunity. When you are in such fear because of all the messages out there around us of fear, because all the messages around there outside in the world of anger, and you connect with your soul, you connect with God the Most High, the creator of the universe, you connect with the creator, you connect with what that divine energy is for you by the name that you call it, and you accept, you align with divine will through you, and then you do that thing in the physical world. You bring it into the human reality. You do that thing that you are guided to do. Rather than turning away, you meet the opportunity and you do it. You trust. You have faith that you don't know what's going to happen next, but you do what you're guided anyway. You align with divine will and you go for it. And that could look like having a simple, peaceful conversation while the light of God fills you. It could look like taking tiny steps along the way, each one guided by that intuition from within, that sense of knowing from within, those messages from your spiritual guidance. And having done that, having broken through the fear and created and committed to the action in the physical world, it's so incredible. The feeling is so incredible. the feeling of having, I think from a Christian perspective, it would be said of having been obedient to God. I mean, those are the words, but those words aren't adequate, because it's not about hierarchy, bowing down. It's about recognizing that that is who you are within. And so it's that feeling of, in the human world, aligning with the divine will, aligning with God the Most High, aligning with the Creator of the universe, and then living that in a moment of challenge. We feel in a vibrant, living way the truth of our connection, of our embodiment of divine will, of divine light. And the feeling is incredible. The feeling of knowing that you, quote, did the right thing, end quote. And even that language is not descriptive enough, because saying you did the right thing, that's kind of puts the language in duality, and it's not in duality at all. Duality doesn't exist when you're in that alignment. And that's why I think it feels so good, because you experience a state of connection with the Creator in doing an action in the physical world that meets that challenge. When you break through the fear, you break through the anger, and you just say, that's not going to stop me, because what's the most important thing to me is aligning with divine will. What's the most important thing is to make that alignment real in the physical world and to live it. And you experience pure wholeness. And what that energy is, living in the physical world, and it feels like pure alignment with divine will. And it is one of the most powerful, incredibly humbling, awe-inspiring feelings that one can feel in life. And just for that, in my view, it is totally worth it. And it is so worth going through that fear and that anger, and just letting that drop to the side and rising up. And when I say that, I'm saying that the light rises up from within you in your heart, and then you rise to meet the day. You rise to meet the challenge in whatever way you are guided. Because in the wholeness of life, every choice is on that spectrum. Every choice, like it or not, okay? Every choice is of the Creator, is a learning experience from the perspective of the Creator inhabiting that human form, living as that human being. Whew. It's so incredible. It's so incredible. It's a blessing. And this is the wellspring of miracles that happen. The human resonance. It's all about the vibe.